Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Charming Empire. And today we're starting on Soshi Amazaki's route. If you would like to hear Kei Yoshimine's route, you can visit Rob's newer channel, Bromantic. Links will be in the description and in the cards. But yeah, today let's get started on my stepbrother, who I am 100% not related to by blood, so it is not incest, so don't worry. Alright, Soshi Amazaki, let's go. Episode 1, look how hot he is. I'm brought to Soshi's office as soon as we get back to the palace.
Pardon us, Lord Soshi. We brought you the princess.
As the two servants announce my arrival, Soshi turns his attention from the people he's speaking with to me.
Thank you, that is all for now. Return to your stations. Yes, Lord Soshi.
They bow to my brother's quiet request, then leave the room hurriedly. Now it's just Soshi, the men that brought me here, and me in the oppressive room. I muster up my courage and speak. Long time no see, Soshi.
It must have been a long journey, I'm sure. You will be living here from now on.
Well, that's... Soshi ignores me and continues.
You will do your best to become a lady worthy of being my sister. Strive to be perfect in your etiquette and education.
After he finishes, he tells me to go to a room I will apparently be living in starting today. A maid leads me down the hallway to my room. When she opens the door, I can hardly speak. So I didn't get to talk to my brother at all. He just had a speech for me and that's it. Whoa! The room is filled with extravagant things I'd never seen before. The room is designed in a Western style, with high-quality furniture that must be imported. A dainty lampshade with a glass lamp, a big canopied bed, and even a dresser with intricate engravings on it. It's all very pretty, but this all looks much too expensive for someone like me. Is this really my room? The soft carpet comforts my feet as I meekly walk into the room. There's a glass door across the room that leads to a balcony. Even the balcony banister is Western, with a view of the garden around the palace and the town beyond that. I didn't notice in the car ride, but looking up from here, I can see how packed together the city is. This is all so refreshing after how long I've been living in the countryside. I'm filled with great expectations, yet at the same time anxiety when I think I'll be living here from now on. Do I not have a bodyguard in this episode? Oh, no, Sarah. This room is so fancy that I'll probably be too nervous to relax. Every aspect of the room can't compare to where I was this morning. It's like a princess's room from a fairy tale. If there's anything else you need, please feel free to ask. We will accommodate you right away. The maid who led me here says, with impeccable posture. After a moment, I managed to squeak out a few words. Yes. Well, I think I have one request. Yes, what do you have in mind? Do you think it might be possible to move me to a smaller room? I don't think I understand. Oh, never mind. She's eyeing me so suspiciously. Although I don't know how to be thankful for the room, I certainly don't have any complaints about it. The maid blinks at me as I stand there silently, then continues. If Master Soshi calls for you, I will retrieve you. Please make yourself at home here in the meantime. Don't be afraid to use whatever you like in this room. Yes, thank you. How am I supposed to relax in a room like this? It's so big that I can't help but fidget. After pacing around some, I decide to take a seat in the centerpiece chair. Don't mind if I do, I say to no one in particular as I sit. Talking to yourself. The cushion is so soft, it may be the most comfortable chair I've ever sat in. I still can't believe that I'm actually here. I'm not still dreaming, am I? To be honest, things have been moving so fast today that none of it seems real. I didn't get to speak with Soshi much. I wonder what he's like now. Seems like kind of a jerk at the moment. But we know a little bit about what's going on with him. It seems strange to think that despite us being siblings, but it can't be helped. We only spent a short time together. I was so young back then that my memories of him were mere bits and pieces. The elders I lived with didn't say much about him, but they did say he took care of me and played with me often. Oh, so he was a good big brother, huh? Others said that he was smart, hardworking, honest, and decent. That's the kind of kid he was. The only person that didn't seem to like him was our aunt. Our aunt was not related to us, though. She was the daughter of my mother's nanny and nursed with her in their youth. She came with me and my mother to the countryside and was like a second mother to me. She was so kind, but never seemed to like my brother much. My mother was like a sister to her, and she resented my father for driving her out to the sticks. She felt the same way about my brother, who stayed behind with my father. She was so grief-stricken when my mother passed away from her sickness that she fell to the floor and wept. I should write her a letter to tell her I've arrived safely. She must be worried about me. Even telling her that, I'm sure she'll still be worried about me. I bet we'll find stuff out about my brother because of her. I was unable to see her before my sudden move to the palace, and barely got to say goodbye to the elders that I lived with. Yes, I know. We got to see you get dragged away unceremoniously. I can barely comprehend my situation. All I could think of in the car ride with those men was my brother. I thought I'd feel better after seeing him, but things only got worse. Looking into his eyes and finally talking with him should have brought me relief, but we didn't have much time to talk. But he did invite me to live by his side. We'll be able to talk next time. He was just busy and couldn't make time. Oh, I'm making excuses for him already. The first thing I have to do is get to know him. My memories of him are vague, so I want to know who he's become. I'm sure Soshi has plenty of things to deal with. More importantly, I have to watch how I act. On the verge of losing my courage, I clench my fists and nod to myself confidently. I can't be disheartened now. I have to be positive. I take a deep breath, and hoping to lighten my mood, I take out my sewing kit from my belongings. I didn't have time to pack much, but I always carry this with me in my bag. I'm good at sewing and I enjoy it. It takes my mind off other things. A hobby is good to have. The maid said she'd come get me when the time comes. I might as well bide my time with some embroidery. I take out the handkerchief I have been working on, and with my needle in hand decide to complete the blooming irises. Watching each stitch help the flowers bloom is very amusing. And fulfilling. I wonder if there's a craft store in town. In a big city like this, there are sure to be colors abound. I'll ask Soshi if I could go to the town when I see him next. Just the thought of it brightens my mood. Lots of fun must await me in a big city. I can't wait to explore. If only he would let you. I hum to myself as I sew. As the colorful irises bloom on the white handkerchief, I feel myself start to relax. Did I just fall asleep? Or have I been embroidering all afternoon? Pardon me, Princess. Dinner is ready. Please come with me. Dinner? It's already evening? You can't tell by the light? I must have been too focused to notice. Looking out the window, I can see twilight is already upon us. Dinner will be served in a separate room. I will take you there when you're ready. Yes, thank you. I put my handkerchief down right away. It would be rude of me to keep her waiting. The same maid that showed me to my room once again leads me down a long hallway. We have to travel this far just to eat dinner? Seems like a little much. Right this way, Princess. We need like little go-karts for the palace. She beckons me into the room, which is very spacious. A white cloth covers the large dining table. I see no white cloth. It looks green to me. A beautiful arrangement of flowers, along with fancy plates, are in place at the two ends of the table. I hesitantly take my seat on one side. Despite the table's size, only 2 chairs are in place. Won't there be others joining us? You could eat with us as well. Well, I hope our chairs are at least on one side of the table and not, like, on opposite sides of the table. It is far beyond my place in this palace to join you for dinner. I will be eating in a separate room later. But there's so much space. Who will be taking that seat? That seat belongs to... Just as she begins to tell me, I hear footsteps enter the room. The maid tenses up and I follow her gaze. Soshi! I see him just as he takes his seat in the place across from me. The maid sees it as a signal to pour my brother and I drinks. I want to help, but it's a little nerve-wracking. I should just keep to myself. I sit back in my seat and watch Soshi, who is casually sipping from his cup. Soshi, are you going to be joining me for dinner?
That was my intention. Is there anything wrong with that?
Of course not. I'm glad. I was a little worried at the brevity of our first meeting, but I feel much better being able to meet with him again so soon. I'm sure we'll have time to talk during our meal. I wouldn't be so sure. I try to hide my nervousness while excitedly waiting to start a conversation with him. Just as I'm about to speak, our silverware comes out. Finally, I get a chance to speak when our food arrives. Soshi, I have something I want to ask you.
Ladies do not speak during mealtime.
Oh, yes. Forgive me. He scolds me before I can even finish, and I can no longer bring myself to speak. It might not be too polite to talk very much after all. I guess this is proper etiquette here, sitting right across from each other, yet not speaking a word. It's very stuffy. A delicious scent wafts up from the fusion of food that's brought out. and it looks delicious. It doesn't seem like much, but once I finish one plate, more food comes out. How many courses is this meal? What has me in a bind, however, are the spoons and forks beside my plate that differ in sizes. Which one am I supposed to use? I haven't been taught this yet. I looked at Soshi's hands, but I can't quite make out which one he's using. Ask for chopsticks. I'm just gonna pick one, because asking for chopsticks seems like not a very smart move. Well, I mean, I am following a guide, but still, even if I wasn't. If they're right here in front of me, I should be able to use any one I want, right? I look down at the forks and take the closest one to me. It's quite small. As I take it in hand, I hear my brother sigh. It seems as though there's an order to these things.
Looks like we need to polish your dining etiquette as well. It will be some time before you dine with others.
Forgive me. Alright, so, I can show off my lack of social graces with him at least until I actually learn them. He's already fed up with me. How embarrassing. I just want to disappear. My shame makes my hand heavy as I try to eat, and soon I hear Soshi put down his fork. Looking up, I see Soshi is already done with his final dish, while I still struggle with my second course. Finally, I get a chance to speak with him. I unconsciously sit up straight and wait for Soshi to speak.
You were just shown to your room, yes? You will be confined to it. If there is anything you need, call for a maid.
Why am I confined to it? Are you punishing me already? I follow his gaze to the maid behind me, who bows and smiles as we make eye contact. Please, feel free to ask me for anything at all, princess. Or is it because I don't have a bodyguard in this route, so he's so worried about me that he's locking me away in a room?
There are 2 things that I need you to do during your time here. Don't be nosy, and don't leave the palace.
Well, you're not even letting me leave my room, much less give me a chance to leave the palace. What? He's so casual about it that I barely react. My mind slowly begins to comprehend the meaning of his words. Soshi, does that mean I'm forbidden from entering the city?
I already said the maid will get you anything you need. Do what you want here, but I can't have you go off on your own.
What do you mean do what I want here? You just said I'm confined to my room. I don't believe this. He has me on house arrest. No matter how big this palace may be, forbidding me from leaving is a bit tyrannical. He doesn't want me going out without permission either. I feel like some kind of plaything now.
What's the problem? You'll learn dance, etiquette, and language. You will be much too busy to go to town.
I've already been to lady school. Is there still that much more for me to learn? Well, apparently, if you didn't know how to use the utensils. But how has she been to lady school and doesn't know these things?
It is pivotal for you, as my sister, to learn these things. You're not even ready to dance at the ball yet.
But, this is all so sudden.
I called you here because you have a role to fulfill. I will explain more once the time comes.
Soshi explains things too fast for me to ask any questions, and I can barely keep up.
Oh, and one more thing. We may be siblings, but we both have our places. Do not hope for a normal relationship with me.
But Soshi...
That is all. I have work to do.
Soshi gets up and heads for the door. Soshi, He doesn't bother waiting to hear me out, and leaves me alone with the maid. You're not a very good brother. Princess, shall I bring your next dish? No, sorry. I think I've had enough. It feels like I've swallowed a rock, and there's no way I can stomach any more food. I hang my head with my hands on my lap as my dish is taken away. Then the maid brings me back to my room. Sounds like a really fun life. I can only breathe a heavy sigh when I'm back in my room alone. I don't even feel like working on my embroidery. I don't hope for a normal relationship. Is that how my brother thinks now? Maybe he isn't as kind as I thought he was. It's been beat out of him. Although what I heard of him was secondhand, I still thought he might treat me like he did in the past. However, it seems like he doesn't see me that way. I felt no affection in his cold tone at all. My vision begins to blur as I think about how things will be from here on out. No, crying won't change anything. I can't let myself get hung up on every little thing. I came here, and now I have to live here. I have to take control of my emotions. Actually, I didn't come here. I was dragged here. Isn't it only natural my brother isn't fond of me? We haven't met in ages. I have to understand how he thinks. I can't be carried away by my emotions. I have to look at this on a bigger scale. My head needs to be on straight. I came all the way here, so I must do what I can. Oh, what a pretty view. Didn't see this one before. I step out onto the balcony for a breath of fresh air. The chilly breeze cools my teary eyes and dries them. Off in the distance is the brightly lit city, but all around the palace is dark and dreary, with the moon hidden behind the clouds. And that's the end of episode 1 with our brother Soshi. Next episode? I have no clue what's in store for us in the next episode. I don't know how quickly we're going to get close to him or what. Or if we're going to be interacting with many other people on this route. It kind of feels like we need other people to intercede a bit. Maybe Kagemitsu or something, my childhood friend. Come on, Kagemitsu, do a little matchmaking for us. I wish there were more interactions. I mean, if this is anything like Sarah's route, if the rest of the game is like that, then there's not really that many interactions between the different characters. I mean, they mentioned we had a tutor, but they didn't say that it was Kay, so I don't know if it really was Kay or a random tutor, you know, because it's like an alternate universe or something. And we don't even have a bodyguard in this route. I don't know if we'll have a bodyguard in any of the other routes besides Sarah's. And I don't know why I'm talking about this. Just speculating, I guess, thinking about things. Anyway, hope to see you in the next episode or some of my other ones. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.